Ben Mitchell's emotional exit from EastEnders was marked by a heartfelt scene with husband Callum Highway. Despite a rushed storyline involving Ben's arrest for theft and fraud, their final conversation, filled with romantic callbacks, offered a bittersweet yet uplifting conclusion, saving the farewell from feeling forced. EastEnders' Ben Mitchell exit was saved by emotional final scene. It was the moment an army of EastEnders fans were dreading, as Ben Mitchell's final episode culminated in an emotional heart-to-heart with husband Callum Highway. The character's exit may have come far too soon, breaking the hearts of all those who fell in love with a Ballum, but that last bittersweet, emotional scene saved Ben's exit storyline from a cold and, frankly, unconvincing finish. Ben's departure was confirmed before the end of last year, and little was known about what might tear him away from Callum and daughter Lexi Pierce, Isabella Brown, until recent spoilers confirmed that he would be arrested for a mystery crime. It transpired that Ben had committed theft and fraud while in America seeking cancer treatment for the late Lola Pierce Brown, Danielle Harold, a crime which certainly suited Ben's history, but was never alluded to until the moment the police closed in. This plot twist was so rushed that we barely had time to take in Ben's sudden regression to his old ways, just months after that longed-for breakthrough as he sought help for his struggling mental health. As other storylines took center stage. Throughout the week, hope was fading fast for a meaningful amount of screen time to mark Starbowden's swan song, but Thursday's touching addition changed everything. Despite an on-brand decision to cut Ben out of his life, Callum had a change of heart and used his detective status to visit Ben, albeit only from outside his prison cell. After scolding Ben for making every event in their marriage the Ben show, Callum convinced him to plead guilty, and Ben agreed. This was followed by something of a tradition for the pair, as Ben called time on their relationship and urged Callum to find another man who could love him properly. When Ben turned away and Callum left, it looked like this was the end, only for Callum to march back in and, not for the first time, refuse to let Ben push him away. And we're thankful he didn't, as any other outcome simply wouldn't have been believable. Telling his other half that he didn't want a life without him, and recalling the importance of their marriage vows, Callum pledged to wait for Ben to serve his time. From Ben's tearful laughter to Callum's signing of, "I love you," and Ben gifting Callum the Mitchell name in his parting reply, the couple's story concluded, for viewers, at least, on an unexpectedly uplifting note given the impossible circumstances. The romantic callbacks to their 5-year relationship ultimately rescued the week and kept the fire burning for one of EastEnders' strongest and best-loved partnerships. The episode was beautifully written by David Moore and Pete Lawson, with the latter having penned Ben and Callum's wedding and many more of their memorable moments over the past few years. That final conversation, as Callum fought for Ben right to the last second, offered hope and meant the show avoided an entirely miserable farewell. To describe this as a happy ending for Ben would, of course, be a big stretch, but thanks to character-driven writing and moving performances from Bowden and Clay, whose work together will be celebrated for years to come, Ben's last appearance did justice to a game-changing era for the BBC soap. Of course, keeping their bond intact means we can't help but hold out hope for a reunion sooner rather than later. But for now, we're hailing EastEnders' decision to honor Ben and Callum's story, giving them the screen time they deserved before it was too late. BBC EastEnders fans point out huge clue: David Wicks is returning 30 years after debut. EastEnders viewers are predicting an incredible comeback from David Wicks 29 years after the troublemaker first appeared in Walford. During Wednesday's trip to Albert Square, Priya Nandrahart was enjoying dinner with potential lover Martin Fowler, James.
Bye.
At Walford East. As the pair got to know each other more, they both talked about their past. The market trader opened up about his family history, including his brother Mark and cousin Ian Beale, Adam Woodyard, but he then mentioned David Wicks. Martin explained how Ian and his other cousin David inherited the fruit stall from Pete Beale, Ian's dad, and sold it back to Martin. David was a major character in EastEnders after joining the soap back in 1993. He's the son of Pat Evans and Pete Beale, and is Ian Beale's half-brother. He is the dad of Bianca Jackson, Joe Wicks and Karen Wicks. His first ever appearance showed him attending his dad's funeral, after Pete died in a car crash just 2 weeks before. But David disappeared in 1996, but made a surprise but brief return in 2012 to see his mum Pat, who was dying. Pat passed away in David's arms, and David decided leave for New Zealand shortly after her funeral and hasn't been seen since. The mention of David Wicks instantly sparked a frenzy online, with fans of the BBC show predicting his return. Taking to X, one person wrote, "David Wicks Claxon. Bring him back." A second said, "Need David Wicks to come home and finally do right by A.R. Carroll, then they can leave happily." A third chimed in with, "Mark and David mentions today classic stands are winning. Oh, how I would love to see a David and Carroll return # EastEnders. EastEnders 2012, said another. London's best fish and chip shop, that's in the UK's top 50 chippers. In a corner of West London sits the only fish and chip shop to be named one of the best in the UK. The takeaway made it onto the list of the UK's top 50 chippers. Stone's Fish and Chips in Acton was judged for its staff knowledge, value for money, food quality, and social media presence by Fry magazine last year. Extra points were given to those with an ordering app. Stone's Fish and Chips is a family business that sells sustainably sourced fish to happy locals. Its menu includes traditional favorites like cod and haddock, as well as fried scampi, salt and pepper squid, and homemade Cajun fish cakes with cream cheese. You can order a takeaway via Deliveroo or Uber Eats. The chips are double-cooked, and you can add your own toppings like bacon, cheddar cheese sauce, fried egg or onions. Side options include curry sauce, mushy peas and Heinz baked beans. On TripAdvisor, this fish and chip shop has received high praise. With 4 stars from 50 reviews, most feedback from chip shop fans is positive. One customer wrote, "I am very much a fan of Stone's Fish and Chips. I have now been on a number of occasions and they have never failed to impress. The staff are very pleasant and welcoming, the portion size is excellent and the quality of the taste is fantastic." Another typed, "I find it impossible to believe that this gem of a find actually exists." Whilst almost all other fish and chip shops are greasy and fishy tasting, the quality of this underrated little shop beats any fish and chips that I have ever sampled. Those chips taste like no other, and the cod is clean, white and sweet. A third said, "This is by far the best fish and chip shop I have found in London. Everything homemade, fish cakes are incredible, chips so tasty and really reasonably priced. I would highly recommend a visit. A great find." However, not everyone is a fan. One person said, "Very oily, there are far better chippers around. We live locally so thought it may be good for a quick bite, but sadly not. If you're looking for a thick, chunky portion of cod with a mountain of fries in West London, you now know where to go." Click here for the full list of fish and chip restaurants that made the Patrick Truman makes welcome EastEnders return unaware of a frightening ordeal for Yolanda. Patrick Truman is set to make a welcome EastEnders return in upcoming scenes, amid a frightening ordeal for Yolanda Truman. Yolanda has been struggling with Denzel Dane's behavior in the BBC soap recently, not to mention the vicious rumors insinuating that she's having an affair with the pastor circulating the prayer group. In upcoming scenes, these problems are set to persist, though Pastor Clayton soon offers her some advice. Following their heart-to-heart, Denzel surprises Yolanda with a video call from Patrick, which cheers her up no end. Later, she manages to build bridges with Agatha from the prayer group, and things are looking positive all round. Unfortunately, this doesn't last for long. Yolanda is thrilled when her idea for a food truck goes down well with the pastor, but she is left fearful when he pulls her into an overly tactile hug. Though Yolanda is rocked by the experience, she considers ignoring it, until their next meeting sees Pastor Clayton place an unwelcome hand on her leg. When she finally builds up the courage to confront him about his behavior, Pastor Clayton tries to guilt-trip Yolanda by threatening to put a stop to her food truck plans. Fortunately, Yolanda is supported by Denzel, who encourages her to stand by her plans. However, she is left devastated during the next prayer meeting when Pastor Clayton hands over the charity project to his wife, Stella. Yolanda soon confronts him one more, pointing out that he seems to be punishing her for speaking out, but he manipulates the situation to make it seem as though he is the one who is uncomfortable around. Please subscribe our channel.